I thought I was doing good. I thought, I was a profitable trader at that time. I took my mortgage money, loaded it up. I was like, nah, I'm gonna flip this and then I'll pay the mortgage later. One trade, gold. It fell off a cliff.
No stop.
No, I didn't even have an opportunity to get to a stop.
That fast?
Yeah, it was quick.
Wow. Welcome back to another episode of the TFT podcast. My name is Lorenzo, and today I'm brought here by funded trader Jordan. Welcome.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
And just to let everybody know, Jordan has had over $15,000 in payouts with TFT. He's currently already scaled up his account and is going to be joining the Kings program very, very soon, which is a very huge accomplishment. So shout out to you, Jordan.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're flying in from Newark, right?
Yes. So actually, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I actually moved to Newark, New Jersey when I bought my house about 3-4 years ago. So still adjusting to that, but still claim New York.
A lot of bustle in New York, a lot of noise, right? City never sleeps.
Of course.
So tell us, what is it like in New York, just growing up in New York? Because actually, I'm from New York as well. So I want everyone to be able to know, what is the experience of growing up there? People that grow up in New York, they become very tough. Yeah. You really got to learn how to hustle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell us about like the mindset growing up.
It's a great question because it's so different now from when I grew up. I'm just 31, but from when I was growing up, it was still on the back end of the rougher side. Yeah. Especially Brooklyn. So like around where I was growing up, there was a lot of drug dealing. There was, I saw drugs. I saw it being dealt. Yeah. And there was a lot of violence. There would be times that I'd wake up in the middle of the night and gunshots, and I'd automatically know to hit the floor. And that's me as a kid growing up. So it was rough growing up. But now it's funny. Brooklyn is so different. It's so different now. There's doggy daycares. There's all types of things. And I don't know how it is growing up now, but I know
not quite as tough now.
Yeah. But in my era, it was a little tough, and you had to hustle. It's a part of you, and you wear it as a badge of honor wherever you go. Even obviously, I'm flying from Newark, but I'm claiming New York.
Yeah,
what
always.
I mean? Because it's a badge of honor. So for sure, it's been amazing to be from New York, and obviously to be from that culture.
Yeah. So tell us about your mindset. Where did you get this mindset from where you felt like, you had to hustle and you knew you had to make something happen, right?
Yeah, because everyone around you is doing it. Like in New York, rarely you find somebody with one job, Rarely. In New York, it's kind of like bare minimum to be hitting six figures too. Yeah. Like they are hustling and they are working. They're working in the morning, they're working in the night, and that kind of rubs off on you. But at the same time, you still have to figure out, there has to be a better way to do this, right? Yeah. Still working hard, but how do I work a little smarter? 100%. And how do I make the best of this life? So obviously getting the hustle side from New York is important, but now how do I now expand how do I expand from what I've known all my life to take it to the next level, pretty much?
So tell us about what was the path that you were on? Let's say before you were even introduced to trading. Yeah. What kind of path what were you going for? What was the plan?
If you asked me from second grade on, what I wanted to be when I grew up or what I would be, I would say a doctor, and that would be consistent from second grade all the way till I finished college. So I went to college. I majored in biology. I even ended up getting a master's in biology, and I was studying for the MCAT, which is the entrance exam for medical school. And it's funny, working in hospitals, having jobs working in hospitals really allowed me to see how a doctor actually works in the ins and outs and the little things that you don't see. Things beyond just the shiny white coat, things beyond just
the reality.
The reality of it. Yeah.
No sleep.
Yeah. And I had to be honest with myself. I think I wasn't fully honest yet, but in the back of my mind, I knew I wasn't that invested. And it's such a beautiful career, and I feel like you have to be all the way invested.
You have to be all in.
Yeah, but at the same time, I asked myself, well, if I could make that kind of money, but not have to do medicine, would I do it? And I'm like, yes, in a heartbeat. Then I really had to ask myself, then maybe you're doing it for the wrong reasons here. You know, so it's funny. Eventually I met somebody, I sat down, you know, just a life insurance agent, and I was just, you know, handling business. And it was just a regular question. He asked me, what is your dream scenario? Like, how does your dream future look like? And I'm just like, well, he said, explain everything to me. Like, how does your house look? The amount of kids, the cars. And I'm just like, man, I got this house and this waterfall and this, and I got this many kids, and there's a Lambo here, Rolls Royce here, and all of that. And then he's like, okay, good. Like, how old are you when you see that happening? And then immediately, knowing that this was my path, it was like depression just hit me. And I'm just like, man, I guess maybe if I do things right, maybe 50, maybe 45, 50.
And it just doesn't make sense.
But yeah, and then I was just like, and then immediately I was like, well, but if I do real estate, maybe I'll get there by 35. And he's like, so why don't you do it? I'm just like, I can't. And I didn't know why I couldn't do it. And, you know, obviously you grow up, especially I grew up in a Caribbean household. I'm Haitian, and they really push that medicine on you, you know, the law, medicine, et cetera, engineering. So it's pushed on you hard, and you realize you're doing it for them. But maybe there's more out there for me, you know? And I decided from that point on, I left his office. I was driving, speaking to, she was my girlfriend at the time, my wife right now. But I got to a parking lot and I couldn't drive anymore because it bothered me. And I was like, I think I'm going to change my career. Long story short, changed my career, went through a year of like going through real estate school, eventually had a short stint as a real estate agent. And then I got my first property. And from getting my first property, I hit a roadblock. And the roadblock was, all right, I got my first property, so I used my first-time homebuyer status to get a low down payment. Now I'm hit with a capital block. Like, how do I get more capital to keep this going? And I know there's other avenues in real estate, there's other ways to do it, but it just seemed like it was gonna take so long. And how can I do something right now? And as I was in that mindset, at the same time, I'm getting ready to propose to my girlfriend. And as I'm getting ready to propose, her family comes in, and then there's this family friend who comes up with them. And, you know, he's just there, and we're just vibing and whatever. I propose to my girlfriend. She's my fiance. And then eventually I start talking to him. And
that same night.
It was probably the next day. Next day. Actually, it was my fiance who was talking to him at the time. So she was talking to him, and she came to me and she was like, hey, you know, so-and-so is like 21 years old and he owns like 21 houses. And I'm just like,
man's been buying a house since he was born.
But I'm like, babe, come on, babe. I went to real estate school. Do you know what it means to have 21 houses, especially at that young age?
Yeah.
I don't think you heard right. So, but curiosity made me ask him, and he's just like, he confirmed, yeah. And I'm just like, so how did you do it? And he's like, I made money in the Forex market, and I keep investing in real estate. And I'm just like, first time I ever heard of the term Forex.
First time you ever heard the word.
First time I ever heard the word Forex. Always heard about the stock market, but it's like, what is Forex?
Yeah.
He was nice enough to take me to his place, and I saw screens, and I saw graphs, and I saw.
Damn. So yeah, like a legit setup.
Yeah, man. I thought it was cap. And I thought it was cat. And he legit like showed me everything and showed me MetaTrader and whatever. And he didn't teach me how to trade, but he got me set up and got me on my way.
Yeah.
But what that did for me,
huge,
bro, like I don't know if you've ever been at a point in life where it's not that everything's perfect, but you're okay, you're maintaining, you feel like you're doing okay. You feel like, you know, you're amongst the higher earners in your group. So you feel like you're doing well. But you meet somebody who's doing so much better, and you hear the things that he's doing, and then you are bothered. And that, like,
it just opens your eyes, right?
Yeah, and that feeling of being bothered never left me. It never left me. And from that point on, I just started researching, what is Forex? What is this? What is that? And I spent months researching, and then, you know what? I went to tell my close friend about it. And why that's so significant is because he believed me from day one. We went to dinner, and shout out to Kwaku, who's my trading partner. We went to dinner, and I told him about Forex, what it is, and he believed me from day one, and he couldn't eat. We went to dinner, and he never ate.
Why not?
So He believed me. He was like, "What am I doing with my life?" That same feeling of being bothered hit him too. And then we started our journey. We started with IML, of course, as many people did.
I was gonna ask you, like, what was the first route you took? Was it IML?
It definitely was, but it was pre-COVID. It was like 2019-ish. So
that's when a lot of people started finding out about Forex though, as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like, right before COVID stuff.
Yeah. We started with IML, and to be honest, I don't have a lot of people's negative experience with IML. I guess I did get lucky because the person who was teaching really knew how to trade. He was really teaching how to trade. And of course, we know there's the whole network marketing side of things, but like he really knew how to trade. And to this day, like the basis of how I see the market is him. And, his name is Stevenson Lindor, and he just really taught us how to trade. And I didn't stay long. After like 4 or 5 months, I left and I was on my own, and I took plenty of courses. I took all of the big name courses. I took them all. I really invested in my knowledge. And now we're here. Fast forward.
Shout out IML. I mean, it really is the building block for some people, right?
It is. It really is.
I mean, that's honestly how I learned about it as well.
Yeah.
I went to the seminar. You get all pumped up. There's like 1,000 people in the crowd. They're all screaming like, "Oh yeah, let's go! You can make this. You can make this rank, whatever it is." But so that's crazy. So tell me about this guy that was teaching you how to trade. Was he teaching you on a Zoom call? How was that set up, and what was he trading?
Yeah. So they had a whole setup where you kind of log into their system, and he's teaching like every let's say Tuesday and Thursday, something like
twice
that.
a week.
Yeah, and he's teaching, and the thing about him is that he's teaching the same thing over and over and over. Like there's no
keeping it simple.
Like not even just keeping it simple, but it's the same thing, and it's exactly what people needed. Like sometimes, like people try to make trading so complicated. Like, let me pull in this indicator, let me pull in that, let me pull in this strategy and that strategy, and it's literally you're doing the same thing over and over. And you're onto something, or you're a good trader when trading is boring.
100%. Less is more.
Thing. Yeah, it's the same thing over and over. So, like, even though my strategy is a little tweaked now, like I trade maybe a little simpler than that. It's still the foundation of how I see the markets. And I see the markets that way because of him. But eventually, like, I think Raja had also a major impact on how I see the market. Support and resistance is huge for me now. And yeah, pretty much they really had a tremendous impact on my trading and where I am now.
So did they help provide you that mindset as well, or was it mostly on the education side?
I would say mostly on the education side. With the mindset, it's...
You already had it?
I had it in other areas.
Exactly.
Right? So maybe it was easier to translate. But even then, like with Forex, the mindset, man, you have to be so resilient. Like Forex will really break you down. It's going to break you down before it builds you back up, if you allow it to build you back up. Because I remember, even though it wasn't my biggest loss, my most significant loss, I thought I was doing good. I thought I was a profitable trader at that time. I took my mortgage money
live
account. Took my mortgage money, loaded it up. I was like, nah, I'm going to flip this and then I'll pay the mortgage later. One trade, gold. And I'll never forget, it fell off a cliff. I was in a buy.
No stop.
No. I didn't even have an opportunity to get to a stop.
That fast?
Yeah, it was quick.
Wow.
It was, and I didn't know about news. I didn't know anything. And it just blew instantly. And
it hurts.
It was the first time in my life I hyperventilated. I felt that feeling for the first time. Like I was curled up. I was crying. Speaking to my wife, I don't know what I just did. And, that was that moment where it's just like, you're either going to do
it becomes real.
It really becomes real.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that, because that's why a lot of traders, they'll come in and they'll make some money real quick. Because you come in with no fear, and you've never been slapped around by the markets before. But when it becomes real, then you're like, all right, now I started my journey, and now I have to learn this. Now I got to go through the ups and downs.
It's definitely a point where you have to make that decision and say, am I gonna stop here, or am I gonna keep going?
100%, and it's that willpower. And there's a lot of things that help. Well, constantly watching videos. I'm big on watching YouTube and motivational content. And you need that. Reading books, all of that. You need that to constantly drive you, because it's literally, if we want to break trading down, those who become successful between those who do not become successful in the most basic form, it's just that they never quit. That's literally that's it. It's not that they're smarter. It's not that they just, it's not so much anything that they have over anybody else. They just never quit. And if you could get yourself to that point to constantly motivate yourself or pour things in that will motivate you, reading books or listening to content, then you will make it as long as you don't quit.
So tell me, what was that point for you when you actually became profitable, when you realized, hey, maybe I actually could make some money from this? Like, what was that moment for you? Was there a specific moment?
I think there was it wasn't a specific day, but it was more like a point in time, a phase, maybe a quarter. Like I was, I really dived into, it really changed when I started really going over my trades, like seriously going over my trades.
Reviewing your trades, looking back.
I was taking screenshots of the trades. I was writing down what happened, whether I won or lost, what I was thinking during that trade, everything. And when I started going over my trades, then I realized I'm making the same mistake over and over again. And I didn't know that. And once I realized that, I caught that, that's when I started seeing some profitability.
People really look over like reviewing your trades, journaling, whatever it is, whether they're too lazy to do it or whatever their excuses.
It's not the most fun thing to do.
It's not.
Yeah. But it's the most necessary thing if you want to improve.
It's like putting a mirror in front of your face and you're looking back.
Yeah. 100%. And you gotta face that. Like, I know it's fun to execute trades, go in and out of trades.
After a loss, nobody wants to look back.
Nobody. And honestly, after a win, you don't want to look at it because you're like, you know what? I did it right. Why do I need to review it? So it's just like, you really have to treat this like a business, like for real. Business, school, whatever relates to you better, this is what it is. This is your life. You got to take it seriously. And until you start taking it seriously, you won't see the profits that you wish to see. You won't be profitable. And there is such a thing as falling out of profitability too. You can like get too comfortable and fall out of profitability.
It's like an everyday grind. Yeah. Everyday grind. You got to show up, be the best trader you can be, best 100%. Mindset.
Yeah. 100%.
Everything else in your life will bleed over. So you need to be really, really on it.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
When did you find out about TFT?
I found out about TFT.
And what was the impact that TFT had on you?
Yeah, I found out about TFT maybe sometime last year. I found out about TFT, and it was just immediately TFT was different. Immediately, I started with FTMO. I did my Forex funds a couple of times. There was this firm, but it's not like operating anymore. The prop trading, man, took a whole bunch of my money, man. This blew.
You're not the only one. It's sad, bro. To be real,
and I blew so many accounts with them, man. Like it was bad, But yeah, TFT was immediately different from the marketing standpoint, from the amount of promotions that are being pushed out and all of that. And then you gravitate to that, and right now I'm in $1 million worth of challenges.
Let's go.
And obviously you gotta go out a little bit to the others, but TFT is number one. It's number one. It's no surprise that it rose to the top, and I think it's gonna stay there for some time.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of traders say that as well. Like when they first found TFT, they just love it instantly. First time. You know what I'm saying? They can feel that we care about the community. We actually create a community here.
And shout out to Angelo. Angelo has been amazing. And Angelo is involved. Like I can't tell you how many times throughout the day he pops into the Discord and is just asking people how they're doing. And that means the world to traders. If you got the top guy who's here and he's involved and he hears concerns, like some of them give him a hard time. They do. And
I know. It's rough in that Discord. No lie.
Yeah. And he takes it all and he hears their concerns and he responds. And I really, really appreciate that as a trader.
Huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Huge.
So let's talk about your strategy. You trade gold.
Yeah.
As you were telling me earlier.
Yes.
So a lot of people have been trading gold lately with TFT. The big hitters been trading gold. So when did you find gold, and when were you like, all right, let me transition to this pair? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah. So going back to that story when I blew my mortgage money.
Yeah, that was gold. Yeah,
that was gold. And I said I'll never trade this pair ever again.
Everybody says that too.
I'll never trade this pair ever again. That's
it's like a scar, man.
Yeah, and after you get over your emotions, I'm like, this pair will make me all the money in the world. Like I'm going to dominate this pair.
You look at the chart and you see it.
Yeah, I'm going to dominate this pair. And this is that. It's all I trade. And like I said, my strategy is simple. It's pretty simple. Support and resistance. I do like clean ranges. When you look to the left, I like stuff like that. And again, like even though I'm not heavy on patterns, I still see them. Again, that comes from the IML days. I still see the patterns, and me seeing the patterns allow me to add it as a confluence.
100%.
So with all of that, in mind, especially waiting for certain news releases too. I'm big on that.
Yeah, because you keep saying news. I want to hear about how you engage XAU during the news. Like, what is that? Walk me through that process.
I think news in itself is a different approach. So with everything I'm doing, everything I said I'm doing for my strategy, news is completely different. I approach it completely different. I backtest news. Like that's how I got good at trading news. And I know coming in, they tell traders to avoid news. But news could be very powerful if you really know how to trade it. There are certain, if you study news releases and you backtest and you see how they were released and what other news events happened during that time, over time, do that for a couple of years. And how did the market respond? On average, how many pips did it give? Stuff like that, just normal backtesting stuff. And then you build a log and then you start to see patterns. And then what happens is as news is released, and I don't trade before news is released because anything can happen. But after I see those numbers, based on what I've studied.
Minutes after the news?
Yeah, based on what I've studied, I could be 40 pips late. It doesn't matter. I know where
Still can catch it.
I know how much this is going, most likely. So as long as I approach that way, then I'm really good. News days are my biggest days. So as long as I stay afloat the other days, which I do, once I get to my news days, those are like past the challenge days. Those are like, really make a big payout days. Those are big days. Yeah. Big days.
You have like a favorite news event, or is it all the same to you?
I used to love NFP. NFP doesn't. It's still good, but I think now my favorite news event, and it's not CPI. I don't like a whole lot of events that has multiple data points because the data points do got to match up for you to really capitalize on news. Meaning, like some numbers month over month might be positive, but year over year is negative, and that will give you some wicks on both sides. And I tend to not even trade it once I see it like that. But if it's one number, like unemployment claims, something like that, or ADP news event, like one number, then I know I have a good chance of just capitalizing on this trade and making a lot of money on this trade. Yeah.
So with your news trading, I guess my question is, how do you backtest this? Like you just literally, you're saying you have years of backtesting with news, right? You just downloading the history on MT4 using TradingView.
So it's a couple of things. So it's as simple as going on forexfactory.com, right? And in forexfactory.com, you'll see the numbers and you'll see from what came out. And the only tricky part is that there are some news releases that come out by themselves and some of them that kind of overlap with another release.
Another event.
And maybe that didn't happen last month. So you have to keep that in mind. So there's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind. You should have a book when you're doing that type of thing. But you go back, and from going back and seeing the numbers, then you go on the charts. Like go back to that date. So
you always look at the reported numbers from Forex Factory, go back to the chart.
Go back to the chart, go to that date and look at how the market reacted. The only caveat now where it requires experience is that when that news release actually comes out, you see how far price went, but you didn't see the 40 pips up and the 40 pips down and the 50. That just comes over time with experience. Over
100%.
time, yeah. And then at some point you'll know which releases to stay away from. Not releases, but which when the release comes, what numbers and what variation of numbers to stay away from because it becomes dangerous and you rather just not get into that trade. Yeah.
So on this journey of becoming a funded trader, how many challenges have you blown?
Man, that's
if you don't mind sharing.
No, that's a lot. But I always thought about it. I think on average, it would come up to like $30,000 in losses, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably $30,000 between all the funded challenges I've did. But remember, I started pretty early too. So maybe after a year and a half, I started doing challenges.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't ready yet, that's when I started blowing them. But now it's kind of rare for me to like blow a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare now because I'm so in tune with my trading, and of course it can happen because there's other things that other factors that you may not keep in mind. But I'm so in tune with my trading now that I really I really am careful when I'm trading my challenges, and that actually translates to a personal account too.
So your same method for passing the challenge, and then once you get the account, same method is what you're.
No, that's different in terms of handling a challenge. There's a method. I think there's different methods. I think if there's anything that will benefit traders, it's understanding the approach to challenges. It's like it's really specific, and I'm talking about specific in terms of phase one is different from phase two. Phase two is different from funded. You come into a challenge, number one, that's different from a live account. You have other, there's rules and there's things you got to keep in mind, certain things you can't break, obviously. But phase one, and I was saying this before, phase one, you really have to be careful with your first couple of trades. Because immediately, once you see, whether it's $100,000 account, whatever, once that 100,000 goes from 100 to 99, once that six-figure number turns into a five-figure number, immediately it's a psychology hit, immediately. And you have to
be that dopamine hit.
Yeah, it really is. And you gotta be careful. And of course, obviously you can lose your first trade, that's fine. But you gotta be careful not to go all out in your first couple trades because you could put yourself in a hole. And when you put yourself in a hole, you're also in a psychological hole. Because now you're trading and approaching this thing completely different. The way you trade in drawdown is completely different from how you trade in profit when it comes to challenges. But eventually you get there. But now when you go to phase two is the hardest. And people think because the profit target is so much less that it makes it easier. But that's the psychology.
It's that reverse psychology, that's that right? It's like so easy,
that's
right?
That's that reverse psychology that really gets to you. And if you're not careful, you'll get back into the same hole and have to make up the same amount of phase one, if not more.
Could be worse than phase one.
It could absolutely be worse. So you got to be very, very patient. I know usually people want to end phase two in like one or two trades, but you got to be patient with phase two. Phase two, all right, you're almost there. You're not there yet. But like, again, look for those A+ setups. Sit on your hands if it's not an A+ setup. When it is A+ setup, get ready to execute with confidence.
So tell us, what is the A+ setup for you? You said it's support and resistance. You like,
yeah.
You like trading gold. You like trading news.
Yeah. So
walk us through, like, give us a visual. What does that perfect trade look like for you?
Perfect trade. That's a great question. I think all right. I'll picture something right now. So
is it like 8:30? The news is about to hit.
So it's definitely 8:30 for sure. Whether it's news or what, but just New York session in general. I like 8 o'clock, 8:30. So
to start hopping on the chart.
Yeah, okay. For sure. So you have a clean range on the left. Clean. Like, I mean, candles went all the way down.
All the way.
So you're not seeing a whole bunch of wicks. You're not seeing like necessarily patterns, etc. You have a clean range. Price went all the way down. Fine. And then you have price maybe consolidated towards the bottom a little bit. And then
created a low.
Yeah, it's created that low, but also found support. So after it found support, it's wicking maybe up and down, and then that creates a resistance. So there is a support and resistance now you have, and you could box that trade in. Now you go down to the 30-minute, and specifically on the 30-minute, you're waiting for that break of that resistance. So you see that break of the resistance, and then on the next candle, you allow that candle to do what it do. It's going to do a wick down is my favorite. Because,
retest.
Yeah, for sure. A retest. And as that candle is flipping, then I would enter that trade. And knowing that I have that range to the left, it's going to approach, at least it wants to go to the next area of resistance. I'm going to ride that up for sure.
So are you having a daily bias when you hop on the chart? Are you saying I'm looking for only shorts today? I'm only looking for only longs? Or are you just going straight by what you see?
I stopped doing that. And I think that had the biggest impact on my trading. I think it had the biggest impact on my trading.
Because, that is something that's really been spoken about a lot. It's like having that daily bias. It's so important, right?
I know it's important, but it's, like
sometimes you got to play it by ear.
Yeah, and the market gets funny sometimes. Like if you get so caught up and get so stuck to one bias, it is a psychology thing, and sometimes you don't realize it. And you're trying to like daily bias is buys, and you're trying to force the buys, and like all of a sudden A- setups are gonna look like A+ setups to you because you're looking for a buy. So I don't try to look for buys and sells. And that's where support and resistance really comes in for me. Support and resistance allows me to just be like, where's the break? Where's the break?
100%.
I don't care. Like, and trust me, I think my early days, first 2 years of trading, I was marking up charts. I was marking up like 20 charts over the weekend, looking at this pattern and that pattern and whatever. Honestly, nowadays, I put all those patterns aside, support and resistance, wait for the break. Alert up here, alert down here, wait for the break. Break happens, close on the 30-minute. Next candle, let me see how it's forming. I answer.
How tight is your stop? Where's your stop?
My stop is always going to be relative to structure, of course.
It's gonna be below that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be below support or above resistance, depending on the trade. If I was to say there's an average, there's usually an average with like 45 to 50 pips.
Okay.
You know, gold is volatile, so
true.
Yeah, so on average 45 to 50, but I don't stick to just 45 to 50. It depends on the setup.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you looking to get on your risk to reward side?
Risk to reward, if I could at least get a 1 to 2, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
On news days, I really look for 1 to 3. For
1 to
sure.
3.
1 to 3 on news days, because especially when everything hits right, data comes out right. Yeah, I'm looking for a 1 to 3 because I know news is really going to push up.
And then strategy wise, let me ask you 2 more questions on that front. What is your risk per trade? And how many trades are you taking in a day? And where you're like, all right, I'm off the charts, like 2 losses.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
On a regular day, non-news day, my risk per trade is probably, so just to give some detail, if it's like $100,000 account, I'll probably be risking maybe $1,000 from that. On a news day,
1%.
On a news day, I'm risking maybe 2.5%, something like that.
Per trade.
Per trade, yeah. But when I say per trade, I only have one trade.
I'm like, yeah, 2 trades and you're done, right?
Yeah, one trade. I used to have 2 trades per day. But one thing I realized I had to go back to my strategy. I don't do well with second chances at all. Like when it comes
hard.
to, I don't do, like my psychology is different no matter what happened on the first trade. The first trade I won. So like my psychology is on greedy. Or I lost.
When you going, yeah.
I lost and I can't, and the second time around, I can't handle the trade the same the first time around. Then the first time around, I can't handle it.
I kind of like that strategy though, to be honest.
So I'm just like, look, you are horrible at second trades. One trade.
One A
trade.
plus,
it's
done.
One A
done
plus.
for the day.
You got it. You don't got it, then walk away. There's more opportunities in the market. That's it.
I really like that actually. Because like with trading 0.5s all the time, you can easily it can be a little too much of over trading to be able to get where you need to go, right? You can get in a losing streak. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of like what you're on to.
For sure.
Well, how did you come up with that?
It's just, it's experience.
Was it more like based on firms approach?
It's a good question because prop firms definitely had an effect to that because now I've had situations where in the past where I've lost accounts because I wasn't paying attention to the equity rule. And I think that right there is one that traders don't pay attention to. And when you're doing that multiple trades a day, revenge trading, you're not looking at equity. You're looking at your balance, you're seeing where it's at, but you're not keeping in mind how far the trade went up in equity and how much you lost and all of that. So I realized, okay, I gotta be careful. How do I make sure I never lose an account from equity again? All right, one trade. It gotta be that golden setup. And I have days where I really don't trade. On a week, the week can start Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Maybe I see something Wednesday, I'll go in a little bit, but I'm fine having just one trade for the week.
And you're having at least a 5% day.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's for sure.
People aren't doing that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Less is more in trading, man. And sometimes, and I think the thing is a lot of traders don't know how to sit on their hands. And they if we talk about A+ setups, but when it comes to real conditions, real market conditions, your mind starts playing tricks. And over time, experience will teach you, no, you know what, this is just not an A+ setup. No, and there's certain things that you got to realize about yourself. Like, I can't keep watching the charts. I cannot.
It's not good. It's toxic.
I've seen so many things on the charts that if I keep watching the charts, I'm going to see something that I've seen before. And even though it's not an A+ setup, there's a possibility though. And I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna enter that trade, man.
And then you immediately get that clarity after, right?
Yeah,
that
and you're just
post-trade
like
clarity.
You're just like, why the hell did I do that, man? Like and you gotta tame that. And whatever you need to do to tame that, close the charts. You need to walk away. You need to, you know what I mean? Like whatever you need to do, you do it, and you make sure you follow those rules.
Because what I would say for someone who's doing like the generic 0.5% risk, right? Mm-hmm. And they're saying 2 losses a day, right? So when you're going in your first trade, you already in the back of your mind have, okay, I have a second trade that I could potentially take, right?
Yeah.
And that's just lingering in your mind. That can start to like bleed over, right?
Oh yeah.
And you're like,
100%.
all right, this one's not going good. You get ready for the next one. And you're not thinking about it as much. So you really got to be...
You don't even trading multiple times in a day, you don't realize that, especially after losses, your psychology is just dissipating over time. After each trade, it's just dissipating and dissipating and dissipating. Like that strong psychology that you with the you lose all control, and like you got to be so careful. It's a tough game. The markets is a tough game, man. Like it's really completely mastering yourself, and nobody has completely mastered themselves. We just find little tricks. Grind. We just know ourselves, right? And the more you know yourself, the more you know little tricks to control yourself. That's it.
It's really more about controlling you than controlling the account. At the end of the day, is what it seems like, right?
Controlling you. It's all about controlling you.
Crazy perspective.
Yeah.
How has TFT changed your life? Like, I know that this has opened up a lot of doors for you, obviously, but tell us, like, what was that moment like when you got that first payout with TFT and it actually hit your account?
It's huge, man. With TFT, one of the hardest things for traders, so there's a phase in trading where you're like at that break-even stage, and then you slowly get out of that break-even stage, and then now you're profitable, but you still have a $300 account though, you know, and that $300 account, maybe you could push it like to 500, whatever. But if there are times, like I was at a point in my trading, and this is where like TFT comes in, where even though you have that small account, you're and you know how to trade, it could easily look like you don't know how to trade because you're taking more risk than you should. And obviously you're looking at the monetary amount, and obviously traders, you make a mistake. Yeah, you make $50 on a $500 account, and you're just like, man, it's $50. But you're not understanding that it's 10%. And I can't blame them for that either, because you're looking for that monetary value. 100%. So now when you go into a firm like TFT, and that translates to a 6-figure account now all of a sudden those $50 days turn into $5,000 days, like it really changes everything. And obviously you take that money, you can build your personal account.
What did you do with your first one?
Definitely built my personal account, pay some bills here and there and stuff like that. But like, definitely started building my personal account, man. Like, it's just, I needed to make sure like I have security in all areas, just in case, because you could blow the account too.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, I've been doing well with I've been able to keep my my trading account, my firm account for quite some time. But
how long?
It's been over 100 days, that's for sure. Yeah, I hit a scale up. And it's been over 100 days. Plan on keeping it even longer.
You're going hard, bro.
Yeah, I'm going hard, man. I'm going hard. Yeah, again, it's a testament of that waiting for that A+ setup. And I go in drawdown. Doesn't mean like I win I definitely don't win every trade. But like, again, like that experience, that being calm. I go in drawdown immediately. When I go in drawdown, I go to the mirror. Like, you've done this 1,000 times.
The speech.
You've done this 1,000. This is no different. I've come out of serious drawdown, like serious drawdown.
Straight to blues.
And because I've done it, I go back to that mirror. You've done this 1,000 times. No different. You can do it again. And I get out.
So you literally step away from the charts when you go in drawdown. So what if you go straight to blues? Are you staying looking at the chart like, hey?
If I go straight to blues,
are you leaving the chart?
Then I go see my wife like, I'm the man.
Yeah, man. It can play a big role in your emotions. I'm the man. Yeah. It's a lot of ups and downs.
Oh, yeah.
Random question.
Sure.
Have you heard of ICT?
I have.
You ever looked into it or what?
I have dedicated myself to look into it. I said to myself, I'm gonna at least look at one video a day, at least. But
Well, it's crazy that you made it here without that already.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah. And it's not even that I'm looking to change my strategy. I just like to learn.
100%. Education is knowledge is power.
Yeah. And I have students too, and I just know like eventually, if more students come in, a lot of them may be ICT, and you want to be able to relate to them and what they're seeing in the markets and things like that. But he's amazing. He's amazing, and I don't know him. I've never even sat through a video, but literally when you look at interviews, ICT student, ICT.
Another one over here.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's always ICT. And again, I say this all the time. It's not about, you know the value of a trader, not by what they possess, not by the things that they show on IG or whatever. You just know their value by the students, by the people that come out of them and they succeed as well. You know how much value there is, and he has really been amazing to the community. And too bad for people who are looking to sell courses, right? I think ICT has this on lock for now. So
yeah, definitely. All right, so what does the future look like for you? You're here, you're in Miami, TFT podcast, breaking barriers.
Yeah.
What's the future look like? What are the goals lined up for the next 6 months? Like, you have a number in your head for payout wise?
Yeah. Payout wise, I told myself this. I've looked at my statistics, and I can very comfortably make 5% per month. All right.
One trade a month,
I could very comfortably, I've done it in a day. I've done it in multiple days. So I know I can very comfortably make 5% per month. So that being said, I know I can do that. When we translate this to multiple accounts, like I said, I have a million in challenges right now. That's what I'm looking for no matter what, 5%. That's like, I'm not overexerting myself. I'm not like reaching 5%. So no matter what it is, and I know that's easier said than done, because when the numbers are there, you could be 3 million funded, but like when you see yourself, in like when you see 50,000, even though it's not 5%, just like, man, that's 50,000. Maybe I should stop.
Maybe I should stop. When you get that thought in your head,
I should stop. And maybe there will be times that you do stop, but still having a target. Like I'm trying to hit 5%. I know I can hit 5%, but in terms of funding, I put no cap. on
Let's go.
Like I literally told I started I started a couple months ago, and I said I wanted to be 1 million funded, and then I said, no, why am I stopping there? Like 3 million. And then I was like, why would I stop there? Like 6. And then I said 10. And then I'm like, but who's stopping me? Who's telling me that you have to stay at 10? I'm like,
nobody.
So I'm just like, okay, I have no limit. I'll just keep trading the way I'm trading. Obviously, I mean, I've been using trade copiers, so that's been helpful. And we'll scale this up as far as we could possibly go. We'll see.
What other ventures do you have in mind? I know you talked about real estate. Is that something that's still in the plan, in the works for the future?
Yeah, definitely real estate. Definitely hard on real estate. Because ultimately, it's not the funnest way to build wealth, but it's probably the most secure way. 100%. So you got to have that in your back pocket, real estate for sure. And, I've been exploring, there's little things that I've looked at seriously. I've looked at trucking seriously. I've looked at other online ventures seriously, because trading, the other thing about trading is that you can do it anywhere, and it's not a lot of overhead. You don't have to worry about certain things. And so, I'm just like, all right, maybe I'll look at things like Amazon automation, drop shipping, stuff like that. So I'm definitely open, but the staple for sure. If I'm ever uncertain, I'm probably going to get another property. Yeah.
Where do you want to get property?
I have properties in New York and New Jersey. I'm open to anywhere, honestly, as long as the market is right. But I do like, for the first, while I can manage the properties I have, I like them being close to me. But eventually I'd like to expand out and see where that takes me. Maybe even get into flipping houses. My wife is amazing at design. She's freaking amazing. Yeah. So I'd love to see her use her skills for that. So we'll see.
It's exciting, man. Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
There's, like you said, there's no cap.
Yeah, there is no cap. And
the best part of this. Yeah. The best part of this business. Why should somebody who's watching this right now get into trading? Why do they need to get into trading now?
Yeah, it's a great question. Trading is a skill set that is to me like no other. When I think about trading, it is like no other. Obviously, it's different from a skill set like sports, basketball, football, etc. There's a cap. At a certain point, you get to a certain age limit where you're just not going to be able to be good enough to keep up. With trading, so long as my mind is sharp, I can trade. I can trade in my 80s. I could trade in my 90s.
Do you plan to? You plan to keep going forever?
I don't see why not. I don't see what would stop me.
Because some people they have different plans. Some people, want to trade 20 years.
I may not trade every day, but I genuinely like it. I genuinely like it.
Good routine.
Yeah, it's really good. So, why not? Definitely. But in terms of trading, like you can do it anywhere. Like anywhere there's a Wi-Fi connection, anywhere. And I know that sounds a little cliche, and I know it sounds easier said than done. But really, you can do this anywhere. And when you have this skill set, nobody can take it away from you. And I just think about, again, like skill sets like being a doctor, or skill sets like, other skill sets in other careers. Something can happen, not to say something will happen, but you can get your license taken away. That can happen. Or, you can get
Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, you could get into a major accident and you can't function the way you function for a particular career that you're in. Then what, But when it comes to trading, there's a lot of security in just knowing the skill set. And it'll translate to almost any kind of trading environment, even beyond Forex. It won't take you long to be able to do well in the stock market as well. So, I think it's definitely worth it. It's not easy. So when it comes to trading, like, yes, anybody can do it. Everybody won't do it, though. Because it does take a lot of resilience. It does take
certain type of person.
Yeah, it's a certain type of person. Kind of a foolish person too. A little bit. There's a little bit of foolishness.
You have to have that.
We don't
vision.
talk about that.
You have
a
to have
lot.
that like almost imagination.
We don't talk about that a lot, but like it kind of takes somebody kind of crazy to just keep losing money over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And just place trade after trade after trade, and like it does take that. But when you make it, it becomes all worth it. And I promise you'll erase all those losses in just a couple trades, and it's just been so worth it. And I just imagine how many doors will open up, even if trading doesn't have to be your passion, but you work at it, you get good at it, and it opens doors. It allows you to invest in other areas. We look at what some big traders in our niche are doing, like the Q Banks and Anthony. They're taking it next level. There's so many ways you could take this skill set and transform it and really make a whole empire for yourself. There's no limit to what you can do for yourself so long as you have this in your back pocket.
It's amazing, man. Really.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally mind blown. Like I'm getting a lot of sauce from you right now.
Of course,
a lot of mindset stuff. Everyone watching, please take notes.
For sure.
So we're gonna wrap it up here soon. Want to ask you a couple more things. Last thing I want to ask is, in terms of your lifestyle, what has changed on the day-to-day, knowing that you have TFT on your side? What has that done for you, just like on the day-to-day and your lifestyle? What has changed?
Yeah, I think in terms of my day-to-day, what's changed is I've been more calm. I've been way more calm because knowing that you have funded accounts, it's different. So long as you can execute the way you want to execute, and you come out successful on the other side, it's a big deal. Like you if you're making like it could just be $100,000 account and you make $5,000. Like a lot of people don't make that for a month of work. A lot of people
did that in what 5 minutes?
Yeah, just about. But like a lot of people just don't make that kind of money. So like even on a small scale, it completely changes your life. So it allows you to do certain things that you didn't really have the ability to once do, And I think you also got to be careful in the sense that you can't depend on it. You can't depend on trading capital. Like you may have been doing well, but the minute you start putting dependency on it, like then the psychology is different. So you got to be careful with that for sure.
Diversify, whatever you got to do.
Oh yeah. But the day-to-day is like, okay, it comes after you've made that money and you hit that payout. It's like, okay, we've made this money. This is what we can do with it. XYZ. This is where we can invest. This is where we can just continue to pour into this thing. It really just changes your perspective, and all of a sudden, all of these doors and all of these options just open up for you because you start to have the capital to do that. So it's been amazing.
Yeah. All right, guys. This has been an amazing interview. I'm really glad we had you on. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Jordan.
Thank you.
It was great. Anything else you want to say to everybody watching this right now? One last tip, one last little nugget you got?
Just don't give up, man. Just don't give up. And I know it's hard. I know when, especially you blowing accounts, you're putting in money. You can't afford to keep blowing the money that you're blowing. I know, even if you take a step away, but don't give up, because it's honestly, you can do this. You really can do this, but it is going to require a lot from you. It is going to break you down. It is going to get you to a low point, but it is so worth it on the other side. And like, take it from somebody who has been through it. It is completely worth it. And you don't want to live your life in regret. You started this, finish it.
Couldn't have said it any better, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. Please drop your socials. Let everyone know where they can find you at.
Yes, Jordan_the Maestro on Instagram and also on YouTube. I put some content on YouTube as well. So yeah, definitely follow. Let me know. Ask me questions. I respond. So definitely take care.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, guys. See you on the next episode.